Hopefulness 2.0, day 17. Today is the sort of kind of maybe day, but actually not really, but probably not, but we'll see. So I woke up and one of the first things I did was lay in bed for another hour, just like usual. So, but beyond that, one of the first things that I did beyond that, take the piss and whatever, was refeeding my starter. So it's going to be a little while. I did it, I want to say about 2 hours ago. I put in more of the bread and more of the whole wheat flour. I've got 700 grams of one of my flour bags has like a slight scratch on it or something, which would suck if it just started losing fucking flour out of it. But anyway, so I've got 700 grams of water sitting in the oven right now. It's not on. The oven light doesn't work, which kind of sucks, because apparently that would help create a little bit of a warmth in there. And interestingly enough, today, the day that I was like straight up, I'm getting ready to do this, Claire drops her first video in a while, in over almost 2 months now, and it's the longest video she's got, and it's about sourdough. I was like, hey, all right, cool, I'll watch this. Oh, so that's why it's like, whatever time it is, 2, I think? I don't even know now. Hang on. Yep, it is 2 p.m. Jesus Christ. I didn't make the meatloaf yesterday because I was in the process of cleaning the stove, and it's significantly cleaner now. It doesn't have a bunch of crap all over it. What I did is I took all the racks off, I put them in the stove, and then I was like, all right, I did wash this one off quite a bit first, and then I was like, why don't I just put them in the oven and then have it self-clean? Well, the oven itself is pretty bad. It's in pretty bad shape. And not, like, I want to say about 30 minutes after I started it, smoke alarm goes off. And I'm like, oh fuck. And so I'm like opening all the windows and stuff, all the doors, and I've got the fan blowing and everything, and the other fan, the 2 AC towers blowing. And so I'm like waving at it and, trying to get a damn thing to shut the fuck up and covering it up and everything. And it finally shuts up. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine. Awesome. Not even 5 minutes later, it goes off again. And I'm like, fuck. And so I'm trying to blow it and trying to figure out what the hell else to do. And I've got the hood on, and it just kept doing it over and over and over again. So for at least 30 minutes, I'm sitting here waiting for this fucking thing to turn on, and it goes off, and it's like right above my head, which doesn't help, because it's in the bedroom. I mean, of course, it is a very useful tool in case of emergency. In this case, it was an emergency. The place wasn't on fire. I'm just burning some shit off inside of a stove or an oven. Anyway, so I turned off the self-clean. It's like, fuck. Crap. So today, I'll go ahead and I'll make a couple of things. Right now the water is just sitting in the oven, just trying to come up to temp because it's cold. It was cold water, and I've got to wait for the starter to kind of, get to its point anyway. So chances are, by the time everything is done with regards to this bread, it'll be pretty late. Because this is an all-day kind of thing anyway. And I've got to wait for this starter to work. I've got to get it. I should probably do a float test on it just to see if it'll actually work. Because that's one of the things that I should have done on the last one that I didn't do. there was a lot to learn on that last attempt, and it didn't turn out well. And since I don't have a Dutch oven, what I'm going to do instead of using the loaf pan like I did last time, instead what I'll do is I will use my 8x8 pan. So just gotta clean it up, but it's gonna be a while. I'm gonna use it tomorrow. So what I'm gonna use it for today is what I've been using it for the last couple of days, which is more chicken. And Clara also let it be known that she's gonna have a video coming up about sourdough starter discard, which is good because I've got a thing full of it right now and I need to kind of take care of that at some point. I was gonna make some pizza with it at some point, but you know, there's so many things that are just kind of running through my head, and you know, I just started cleaning yesterday for whatever, and you know, I used quite a bit of these bad boys to take care of it. So it's like, all right, well, just keep going then. Okay. So I guess one of the things that I could do, since I mean, I don't see any harm in it, is I'll just go ahead and weigh out the dough, or the flour. That's going to be 1,000 grams total, so it's going to be 500 each. I don't know how well this will work, considering. Because this isn't a big ass bowl. It's a big bowl, but it ain't a big ass bowl. So what I'll do here, since I'm getting close now, so take my spoon that I use to feed the starter. Oop, a little bit much. A little bit much. This might seem fussy. It might seem ridiculous to spend this much effort to try to get it to exactly 1,000 or 500 in this case. But that's kind of the thing about bread, is there's a lot of accuracy that's, you know, is it 100% necessary? Not necessarily. But it really is helpful. And this might be just too much. We will see. Oh man, the things that I do. Because like the amount of water that I have in one of the bowls is almost too much. Like, sometimes you gotta tap it because it doesn't really register the amount of weight that you've put on it. All right, 500, 500. Now that's just gonna, I'm just gonna mix that, I'm gonna whisk it all together. But this is, that's how much flour there is. It's the entire fucking bowl. I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to do this. I don't know, we'll see. 'Cause this bowl is definitely not the ideal size for what I'm trying to do here. Now, granted, the water won't necessarily increase overall volume. The thing that will is not only the starter, but also the gases. Because I mean, like, this is there's a lot. It's a lot of flour. This is 2 loaves worth, so it will definitely increase in size and volume, and that could become problematic. So I don't know. We'll have to see in the coming hours what the alternative may be. I don't know. I might have to, stop and go to the fucking store and get a bowl. I don't know. Get like an actual mixing bowl. Because, I mean, it's largely, really, and I've said it before, like, this bread is mostly just 2 ingredients. It is flour and water. Okay, so that's pretty well mixed. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in here for now. So it doesn't have, like, the oven's off. The water's still pretty cold. The closest thing that I have to a Dutch oven isn't a Dutch oven at all. It's this pot. The only problem is that plastic handles. So I wouldn't really be able to do anything with it. Now, what I could potentially do, although it's still not a good idea. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer trying to figure this out. I'm still gonna try, more or less. I'm just gonna use the pan. I'm just gonna use the 8x8. Figure that part out, and then I'll use the loaf pan for the water for the steaming purposes later as well. So while it is preheating, and I mean, again, that's gonna be all tomorrow, most likely. Because I've got to, figure out. I gotta get the water temped up. I could just microwave it for a little bit or whatever, but I just want to get it at room temp, and it's gonna be a while. Plus, I need that time anyway. Where the hell did I put it? For the starter as is, so that it can, do its things. It's gonna be at least a couple hours before I can do anything. Which means between now and then, I need to do a couple other things. I need to cook up some more chicken. This is going to be my breakfast, because why the hell not? I already had a banana though, so considering doing some more rice, just so I can have that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little excited. I mean, I still gotta clean up some shit, and I gotta go to rewatch Adam Ragusi's video because I still didn't, like I said, didn't do the meatloaf. I could do the meatloaf later and do that as well, while I'm doing like bulk fermentation and stuff, so I can have stuff being. And that's the thing about sourdough that is helpful, at the very least, is that you can do other things while it is doing its thing. Some water. Which is good. You want to be able to do that. You want to be able to multitask in the kitchen, if possible. It helps. cleaned up a bunch of dishes yesterday. I didn't clean up all of them because, I mean, that's me. But then I also started cleaning on the oven. I've got to clean my work surface as it is and, you know, shift some stuff around. Gotta clean a couple of other things. So, you know, it's not super terrible, I guess. One thing I forgot to do, even though it's literally right there in my face, was to take the med. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Ooh. I almost swallowed it without water. Anyway. Okay, so that's the deal. I don't even know what the temp is supposed to be today outside. That's the nice thing about LA, is that it's generally just kind of nice. And yeah, so might as well just start washing some dishes now. Maybe think about some stuff in the process. Oh yeah, I had to get a new sponge because the other one, I was like, all right, I'm gonna clean this. Started cleaning off the stovetop racks. And I was like, oh hey, yeah, I'm tearing this thing apart. I mean, it was already on its last legs anyway, so I was like, all right, let's do this. Yeah, it didn't help with the whole smoke alarm crap. That just kind of ruined my day yesterday. I also did finally do the recorded interview thing. Sent that in. I think I did pretty well. But I realized after I was done that I forgot to tell them, hey, this is potential room for some additional discrimination, so kind of feel stupid about that. I mean, the whole point is, you know, you're trying to be an ally and trying to help other people who have it worse than you, systemically speaking, and I forgot to do it, which kind of sucks. But I can't beat myself up over it, because if I do, then nothing comes from it. One of the things I'm also considering is, and this is just totally switching gears again, after each time I cook the chicken, I store all the drippings in the same container as the chicken. So I've got like this big layer of like fat and stuff. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm done cooking them all, I've been pulling out all the bones and freezing them so that I can make some stock with them. And I'll put them in my pot that's right here in the sink that I haven't cleaned yet. And then I think I'll dump all the drippings in there as well, you know, later in the process, not immediately, of course. You want the stock to be made of itself, essentially. You know, you want all the connective tissue and bones and stuff and whatnot to do its thing in the stock. And then you can incorporate other stuff. You can, you know, effectively reinforce the stock with other things, however you like to do it. And in this case, I'll do it with the drippings that I have. It's funny, I think I mentioned it the other day, but I'll go ahead and say it again. I've been kind of like losing interest in playing EverQuest. Yeah, it's not a drastic change or anything, but you know, it's like much of the gameplay that I have come to enjoy has started losing its appeal in one capacity or another. And while I do like joining in on certain aspects of it and whatnot, and It's just starting to feel more like a chore. Even though, the one friend showed up again. But I mean, that's kind of also one of the only reasons that I stuck around in the first place, was because there were, people who were regularly there that I'd be able to talk to and bullshit with and, play the game with. I've been mostly just playing it by myself. And, like, if I'm going to play something by myself, why not cook some more? Fuck. At least I'm getting shit done. There's accomplishment even in, cleaning dishes, even though I don't really like cleaning dishes. I mean, I'm sitting there looking at the stove, I'm like, yeah, it kind of sucked. I was glad I got into that mode yesterday because it looks good, I spent probably a good hour on it. And while it's not the best, it's far and away better than it was. So, that too. I don't know. Maybe change is coming in a good way, I don't know. But whatever it is, I mean, hopefully in the coming weeks and months and stuff that, things will stabilize in my life. Ideally, that would be hopeful. Hence, Hopefulness 2.0. I think from now on, it's just going to be called Hopefulness 2.0, and instead of it being day whatever, it's just going to be the day of the month. That way it's easier on me. Title makes sense. And of course, just I'll input whatever for, if you will, the subtitle. That way I can just keep going. It's all pretty much going to be the same anyway. It's just the title's going to change a little bit and that's it. But I'll start in April. As long as I keep calling it Hopefulness 2.0, it's whatever, yes. I don't know. Just thinking out loud right now. While I'm cleaning. It's a way to distract me from the tedium and the monotony of the task at hand. I'm hopeful for the sourdough. That would be nice. There's actually a question. Okay, so go back a little bit yesterday to the Q&A situation. That was sort of the pre-interview. It's like asking, like, what are your goals for 2022, and if you never had to have a job, what would you do with your life? Just to kind of get an idea of who you are as a person, etc. And the first goal that I said, and I mean, I even said it in the beginning, I was like, these are probably not the biggest goals or anything, but the first one was successfully making some sourdough. They might want career-related answers. I don't want to give them that. I don't want anybody to know what my career-related goals are. Also, because I kind of don't know what they are. But, nevertheless, to me, I think being honest is the right policy in this case. It's like, look, it's been 2 years since all this shit went down. People's lives have been turned upside down in one way or another. Normalcy, as we knew it, should not be expected, nor should it be demanded by anybody. And I don't think that we should placate anybody who wants normalcy. Now, I don't know if they want normalcy. I don't know if that's what they want out of that. Maybe they want straight up normal everyday people saying their everyday goals. I don't know. But what I will then instead do is be that a normal everyday person for myself, for my own sanity, because that's what my goal is. My goal is to have my own form of normal. And so I mentioned, what are my goals for 2020? I want to be able to do sourdough. That's a normal goal. That's a short-term goal too. And then one of them was I want to be able to have a place where I can adopt some cats. Talked about me and murder flukes basically, and then talking about being able to get a car so I can move around easier because I'm using transit right now. Yeah, that's gonna illuminate some things. That's gonna tell them the truth of the situation. I'm not hiding anything from anybody. There's no point in it. There's no point in hiding anything. Now, you don't gotta tell them every fucking thing. You don't have to tell them every single situation. You don't have to tell them that half your day you're spent fucking in bed because you literally live with depression all the time. You don't have to fucking tell them that. And I get like this and I sound like I might be angry or whatever. And it's not really angry. It's a kind of passion, I guess, speech. I'm not sure. Because it's important. It's important that we keep our individual identities and that we shouldn't be ashamed of those. We shouldn't even hide them, really. Like, if hiding them gets, what is it? I don't remember who said it. But interestingly enough, it was, I think it might have been Mark Twain, but it was quoted by a friend of mine who lives in South Africa, and I just attempted to reconnect with her on LinkedIn, even though she hasn't posted anything on there forever, but it doesn't matter. But I saw it on her Facebook page, and I'm like, well, I don't do Facebook anymore, so I'm not going to reconnect with anybody that way. But it was something along the lines of, I'd rather people hate me for who I am than love me for who I'm not. Something like that. And I would like to approach life like that. I think most people should. It's the whole be weird and find the people who like your weirdness kind of advice. It's true. You got to be you. Your goals, you don't have to be super ambitious in life. You don't have to be. You don't got to be a fucking CEO if you don't want to be. If that's not a goal of yours, it's not yours. It's somebody else's. Maybe at some point you want some management, but maybe you want that when you're fucking stable. And maybe you only want it when you are stable. You may not even know you want it because your life isn't stable or something like that, And that's part of it. It's like, just because you don't express a certain level of ambition right now does not mean that you will not in the future. Your life situation often determines where your next step is. And this might sound like me, beating my chest over something that was just a basic, simple question of what your goals are in an interview, but it has me thinking. It has me thinking about things that are important to me and to other people. And we should be true to ourselves when speaking to others about ourselves. Because if they don't want that person, they don't want you. And if they don't want you and you're working with them or you're working around them or whatever, it's gonna be fucking hell. And you shouldn't have to fucking suffer that shit. Now, of course, you gotta pay your bills. You gotta be able to pay your bills. I get it. And so there is this push and pull, there's this tug of war between being your true self and kissing ass and being the false self that you have to be just so you can have a fucking paycheck. But find the places that let you be you. So while you have that job where you're not you, start looking for the other one. Start looking for the one that lets you be you. It's hard, especially when oftentimes the job you need basically makes you do, live your life through that job in one way or another because it doesn't pay you enough or whatever it may be the situation. By the time you're done, you're just exhausted and you don't want to fucking do anything. And the last thing you want to do is look for another job. It's totally reasonable. Absolutely, 100% reasonable. If you can, try to find the place that accepts you for who you are. And with that, have fun.